We're in the parks for our weekly construction update, and we've got confirmation of a change of plans in ToonTown. Good news from San Fransokyo, some scary looking scrim on Space Mountain, but first, get ready because I think we're getting really close to Adventureland Treehouse being complete. I know she looks a lot like she did last week, but that's not the parts that we're concerned about. The parts that we can see aren't really the factors that are holding up the treehouse, have been holding it up for a while now. A lot of what is left to be done is what's happening below that fence line. And one thing that we can see that I've been watching them work on is that staircase that's angling down there in the left third of frame. You've got another construction worker there. He's actually installing the wooden, I don't know what you call those, spikes that make up the fence on the perimeter of that platform. You can see he's actually installing those there. Here is a look at the water wheel that was exposed last week. We saw it for the first time, and we've got crews down there working on that as well. I haven't seen it being tested yet, or working in conjunction with the water buckets. Hopefully that'll happen soon, but I think that's one of the last things that they'll be doing before the run up to the treehouse opening. Here again is another shot of the crew working on that platform as you descend the stairs. But as I was looking at this, I noticed the scrim. Hey, I thought, what's happening with that scrim? Last week we were wondering what they were doing back there. So I grabbed Grandpa and look at that. That's what's happening back there. That is a waterfall on the rock work. It's functioning. The water is running at the Adventureland Treehouse. I cannot tell you, my heart soared when I saw this. I know it's just a little sliver of things, but this is great news. This is a sure sign of just how close we are to things happening, to getting completed here at the Adventureland Treehouse. The fact that they have water running, the fact that they're testing that is a great sign. And we're gonna see more signs here in just a second. But for now, as I contain myself, as I come down off that high, here's that construction worker again working on the platform. You can see him tightening things up there with the installation of those wooden fence posts. I mean, that's really cool. I gotta tell you, I could watch this for days. I could watch this for a while. I wished he had kept going because I just would have sat there and watched him ratchet those things up. Now check out this guy right here in the lower corner. He's got a little plate of paint, and it looks like he's applying finishing touches to a surface just below that fence line. Now this is of note because what's happening below that fence line is the rock work. But we're gonna get back to that because this happened.
Are you spying? Why are you holding that? It's in some metal and some bars.
Maybe, yeah, but it's gonna be something greater in a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Don't want the wheels to off the show though, right here.
You're right, Jack. Captain. What does it say about me that while I'm filming a construction and Captain Jack Sparrow starts talking to me, that I don't take the camera off the construction and put it on Jack? I keep filming the construction. I'm sick. I live for construction updates. What do you want from me? But let's get back to what's happening at the treehouse because I want to talk some more about that construction worker who was applying that finish, or looked like he was applying some kind of finishing paint on the rock work. Now, the one thing that I started to realize, why does it look like he's standing at the very top of the fence line? Well, that's because what he's standing on is that this is what we've been watching them build. When we've looked through the cracks at the fence, they were building a very long rockwork surface that people would walk on, I think. Maybe, I don't know, but it looked like you could. He's standing or sitting, kneeling on an elevated rock surface, which again, if he's at this point, if he's there doing touch-ups, because that little pallet he's holding is not, like he's not doing heavy-duty paint there. That's final work. So that means that they're very close to the rock work being done below the fence line, which was the thing that was really That's the thing that I was worried about the most in terms of how long this is going to take to get finished. So the combination of the waterfall and this rock work being done below the fence line, being near done, great signs for the near completion of Adventureland Treehouse. I predict we'll be hearing from Disney very soon about an actual opening time frame. Meanwhile, I am still on the hunt for anything that looks visible, or you can see they're still working on that staircase there. It's still unfinished. It's still just the steel frame, and they haven't applied. Well, it looks like they applied a little bit of trim, wooden trim, to that staircase, but it hasn't been given the full thematic treatment. By the way, where is he walking? I'm watching him step. He's not stepping on. They haven't. Oh, that's what it is. They haven't put in the actual steps. You can see the little slats there, the little lines, but that's just where you're going to put the step when it's done. But the steps are actually not there. What else can we find? Okay, there's looking at the water wheel again, but nothing happening there. I believe this looks finished, as far as I can tell. The color looks right. Same here. The color looks good. The color looks finished. And you see a little bit where they're keeping things protected, but I don't think that there's anything left to actually do in these areas here. Take a quick peek at the daughter's room. I mean, it looks like they've put them some new lights there. There's a red light and a blue light, but otherwise, I'm not seeing any other theming elements added to her room. I was hanging out with Dallin from Offhand Disney today, and he was expressing his concern, that they hadn't put up the SCA flag yet. Hi guys. I said it's probably too early for that, but I gave a really close inspection just now. I don't see anything except for those two lights that are up there in front of the daughter's room, but still no SCA flag, but I do think it's going to show up here soon. And then one more stop to go at the Adventureland Treehouse, and that is the son's room. We haven't looked in on this for a little bit, so I thought I would since I'm the one doing the camera work today. Looks the same. Looks pretty much the same to me. From here, I can't tell anything at all. They've got it covered up with some scrim, so nothing to see here. While we're in the neighborhood, let's stop over at Tiana's Palace, because I just want to update you guys on the mobile order situation and the queue for food service at Tiana's Palace. It's been open now for a little while, so there was no standby queue to speak of, but mobile order was sold out. I can confirm it was already sold out at that point. So that's still very competitive to get a mobile order. And a quick update from the train station. Actually, I started this particular segment with the idea of talking about the train station and how there's been no progress, and it made me realize I haven't really come to the park yet to evaluate the space that is being used or will be used for the Haunted Mansion expansion, for the queue expansion. As we walk up the path there, all of this that you're looking at is going to wind up being the extended queue. They're going to bring that fence line out towards the center, towards the fountain. So I'm going to have a detailed look. We're going to step this off and look into this and figure out where everything's going to be when they eventually do update the Haunted Mansion queue. But all this that you're seeing right here, that's all going to be new queue space. Crazy, right? That's going to be new queue space for Haunted Mansion. We'll go across the way over to the Mark Twain outside of Pelican Landing. They have added more scrim. The whole boat now is covered in scrim and scaffold. And the fact that they are doing this suggests that this could be a little more intensive than we might have thought. I was thinking maybe just paint. But the fact that they've got this thing as covered up as much as they do suggests to me that this could be something more than just paint. I mean, they really, they got that boat on lockdown. It's kind of imposing, that scrim is on the Pelican Landing. It's not quite as leisurely and delightful a place to sit now while they do this, especially those tables right there along the scrim line. But what are you going to do? Here's a look from the Secret Path, which we're going to talk about in just a second, but maybe, hopefully, on a future visit, we can see some work being done, and if it goes beyond just paint and polish. They just did a paint job on the Mark Twain not long ago. I want to say it was post-COVID, so it couldn't have been very long. As for the secret path, it's still closed, obviously, and I discussed this last week. The reason why it's closed is because of the Mark Twain. At least that's my belief. I've been told that somebody said that they saw staging. They saw materials being staged on the secret path, which would make sense. And it also would support the idea that this is more involved than just paint. Because if they're having to store materials, if they're going to stage stuff on the secret path, then that means that it's beyond paint, right? Right. Stay tuned. Let's go take a look at Tiana's Bayou Adventure next. We'll look at the mountain, and the tarp is down. They had that plastic wrap on the top third. That is down. Let's see if it has revealed anything. We'll bring out the telephoto lens on my camera, on my phone, and look at that. They've scraped the top off they tomahawked that rock work right there, exposing some of the inner framework. Man, it's just all chipped up, isn't it? Look at that. It's showing a lot of, oh, there's another spot right there where they've dug out that little bit. I don't know if that hole is supposed to be there. Those rocks look like they could use some more paint again. So I don't know if that's just collateral damage or if that was by design. Those guys are just waiting for me to finish shooting. Look at this. You can see the steel framework. Look at that. The structure, that whole front has been taken off. Oh my gosh, I didn't notice this. I couldn't see it through the lens. But that whole front, that's rock work. It's just completely gone, exposing the steel framework of the top of that mountain. So that explains a lot why they had that plastic wrap. I'm kind of curious why they haven't left it up there, because that's quite revealing, if you ask me. That's very revealing. Wow. It's kind of shocking, I have to be honest. It's kind of, being able to see, you know, one of those I-beams, like structural I-beams. My goodness. I think we're at the Hungry Bear now, and I found that for some reason they decided to identify that tree as being number 32. I don't know what the 32 means, or if there are 31 other things with tags on it like that, but that's number 32. Well, actually, I can see two more right there in the frame. I didn't zoom in on those, but I can see two more of them. I don't think I'll be able to see that in post. Anyway, we talked about this last week. The little scaffold or whatever they got set up there, the yellow scaffolding there, is a little bit more apparent. You can see they've put a lot of light fixtures. They're working around the clock, apparently. Big lights, floodlights out there, I think. And they're doing something heavy duty. I was not able to get on the Mark Twain, or I should say the Mark Twain's closed, but I wasn't able to get on the Columbia this week either. But hopefully we will have a chance to do that next week. Meanwhile, the purple sheathing is gone, and in its place is whatever it is that they were doing. It's hard to tell. Oh. Yeah, it's just more sheathing, but it's black instead of purple. So that's the second layer. These are usually, you know, protection layers, fire protection. I thought maybe they were... So I feel like maybe they're going to be building some sort of... Well, I don't know. What could they be putting there? It's very interesting, whatever it is, because that's not normally a place where you find sheathing. And to me, it suggests some kind of show element. I think I mentioned that last week. But I do feel like that's going to wind up being some kind of show element. Here's another area where it looks like they've done a lot of scraping and dismantling on that little sloped part of the rockwork there. And he was up to something on that little corner right there for a little while, although I couldn't really tell what it was. I think he might have been disassembling a piece up there as well. Let's go to the back side, and there you see the hole in the rockwork again. We saw this last week. Going to take another look at that. It looks like they've done even more. They have enlarged that gap, that hole in the rockwork. Don't know what they're doing there yet. Such an invasive part of the process right now. What's going on to Splash Mountain? There's another hole. That's a different one. That's not the same hole. I don't think. Maybe it is. The little critter house is still there. Just going to throw that out there. And then, as usual, things look about the same here on this backside of Tiana's Bayou Adventure. On our way to Fantasyland, we passed through Galaxy's Edge, which is always a delight. And I happened to notice I think this is new, but it was there before, but it didn't get replaced when they replaced the stagecoach. But the ship to Jason Chandler tag is on that crate where it wasn't before. Or I used to know who Jason Chandler was. Now I can't remember. I think he was an Imagineer. Pass through Fantasyland, on our way to Tomorrowland, and look at this view of the monorail. Oh, God. Hello, monorail. Wow, I was going to talk about Space Mountain, but I'm sorry. You're beautiful. Hello, monorail. That looks, what great timing. Wasn't even trying to get that. The Space Mountain has got a whole bunch of scrim, or I should say scaffolding, on its peak. So that's probably paint, although it could be powder. It looks like it's already a different color. Notice the top part is a cleaner, whiter tone, and the bottom part that we can see has a little bit more of a yellow tint to it. So it's possible they have already painted and or power washed that part of Space Mountain. So we'll make our way into Tomorrowland proper and get a closer look at what's happening at Space Mountain. And already I can see that they have replaced that brown scrim, or maybe it's a second layer, with a much more eye-pleasing purplish, light purple color. I don't know what color that is technically. I'm sure somebody in the comments will tell me. So the scrim is still up all over the front of the outdoor, the exterior part of the queue, and then obviously you can see the scaffolding up there again at the top, around the peak of the mountain. I would imagine, I wonder how do they do the slanted part of that? Because it's easy to get paint and or a power washing hose onto that top part, because it doesn't slant like the lower 2/3 does. Interesting. I'd be very curious to know how that works. Too bad I can't be there to see it happen. I'm only here for a minute. Then here's another close-up shot. I'm almost certain that top part is done or near done, and that the next phase is going to be that lower 2/3. I came in here because I think there's a way to go around there. I got some shots the other night from inside, looking up at the scaffolding in there, but as soon as I came outside, out here in the patio, and this is why I'm doing this on camera instead of in post, you could smell the paint. It's very visible. I don't know, that's noticeable. The smell of paint is very obvious and noticeable here, so I have a strong suspicion that is the bulk of what they're doing here. It's just paint. Walls are still up around the DVC kiosk. Little flying saucer is still at work though. I wonder what they're doing here. Like, certainly this wasn't a high priority type thing. This is not a guest facing situation. I wonder what would trigger Disney to want to do this. Let's get on the monorail. One of my favorite things. Monorail time, and I have to confess, I've missed doing the construction recon. I don't know, man. I've enjoyed having that extra time to work on other things while Liz is doing the recon, but I mean, look, I get to do this stuff, man. What is going on? You know what it is? I've been away too long. I haven't been going to the parks enough because I've been trying to, do other things, which I still need to do, but it's made me be forlorn about Disneyland. I've missed doing things like this. I about lost my mind. I shot a bit here the other night that you should hopefully have seen already on Fresh Baked about how much I love the monorail station here, and especially at night, and how beautiful it is. Love it. Okay, where are we? Still in the sheathing phase. On the backside, I don't see any progress there, though I don't expect we ever will. Lots of dirt still there. God, I wish I knew what their plan was. It's a pretty healthy chunk of land there to be doing nothing with at this point. I don't believe it'll be nothing, but it's weird that we haven't at least seen any kind of suggestion of what they might be doing here. With that, we'll take a look at a couple photos that we got from this Fresh Baked Street team. This is of the guitar pick stage on the left. You can see they put down some, well, it was concrete before. It's a blue shade of something. I don't know if that's just a layer. Surely that's not the final color. But it's an interesting, I've never seen something like that on concrete before. Like, I've watched a lot of this, and I don't remember seeing, I just don't remember seeing anything like that before. But maybe I just haven't been paying close enough attention. Otherwise, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on what I thought was just going to be a simple staged area. But you've got, I don't know what you've got down there. What are they doing down there? What, is it maybe, you've got conduit? Is that conduit? And what is with the forms down there below grade? You got some below grade forms down there. I wonder if they're going to be doing something like they do at Tomorrowland, where they have the stage that can, although those forms there do not suggest that that's something that they could do. There's nowhere for it to go, so I might have to retract that. But otherwise, man, this is just a fascinating looking bit of construction happening here at the guitar pick stage. Fascinating. Get back down to the ground so we can take a look at what's happening at Din Tai Fung. We don't have any other aerials to show what's happening there. But there he is. And dude, Din Tai, there is some detail happening inside that building. I mean, there's lots of definition, more steel, a lot of concrete. It's taking shape. Got some construction workers. It looks like he might be doing some electrical business there. And right there in the foreground, right in the middle frame in foreground, is that little patio area in the exterior. That's the roof for that area. Wow. Fascinating. Can't wait to see what happens next week. With that, we'll head over to the Disneyland Hotel, stopping first at the Sorcerer's Hat. Last week, I was stumped by the orientation of the completed Sorcerer's Hat. And I said, I'm going to come back and stand from where that other shot was taken. And yeah, it's the same. It hasn't moved. It was an angle, but you can see it looks like they have changed the color scheme. Where it was all blue in the middle, it's now got that silvery gray tint to it on that, at the where the flourishes are. So that's it. A month of scrim and scaffold for that. Let's go check out the DVC Villas in the Disneyland Hotel. They're open. Thursday was the first night for the new DVC Villas, and there they stand in their glory. Everything but the Grand Villa, the big $6,000 a night room. I think it's like $6,000 a night. I saw some construction crews up there still. They're still trying to finish that up, but we can walk. You can go all the way in there. If you want to go visit the hotel, head on down to downtown Disney to the Disneyland Hotel and go to the villas at Disneyland, the Discovery Tower. Look at those breeze blocks. Fantastic. An absolute match to what they're doing in downtown Disney. There is some sort of plan there. Plus, you got some pixie dust leading the way into the entrance to the hotel. I really enjoyed that, actually. I was fortunate enough to be given a tour of a couple of the rooms by a DVC agent. She was on site, and they were allowing walk-in guests. You could go try yourself. You might have an opportunity to go see a room. This is a studio. And I gotta say, this looks delightful. It looks certainly better than a room at the Grand Californian. It looks better than a room at the Disneyland Hotel. No doubt about it, in my opinion. I love the color. I love just the general design. It's very finished. Look at that. You got dishes. You got a whole cupboard there. You got a closet themed to Sleeping Beauty. This is a Sleeping Beauty themed room. So all the little elements that you see here, where they do add an element, is Sleeping Beauty. Here's the restrooms. It's delightful. I love the vanity. Oh, look at that. You can see the fairy godmothers up there. And me. And then this is the same room, but this one is Princess and the Frog themed. And so, it's the consistent in terms of the elements that you see, just the characters or whatever. Like this, there's a floor rug This one says Blue Skies and Sunshine. There was a matching one for Sleeping Beauty Castle that has its own little phrase. There's a view out the window, out onto the Disneyland Hotel pool. Not of the DVC pool, but of the Disneyland Hotel pool. And then this is the 1-bedroom villa. Again, this just looks really nice. I have no idea how much this room's going for, but certainly it's better than anything that you could find at the Disneyland Hotel. I should mention, I forgot to show this from the Sleeping Beauty room, but that thing on the wall, that pulls down into a bed. It just pops right down. You got to move the little center, the console area there. You got to move that, but yeah, that's another sleeping area. And then there's look at that kitchen. That looks great, right? Washer and dryer in the 1-bedrooms. And here is that 1-bedroom, here's the bedroom for that 1-bedroom. And again, this looks very nice. I really enjoy this. Another view out into the Disneyland Hotel. I learned what those color things are, what that's supposed to be, which we're going to get into in a second. But first I want to say that is going to be, it's not done yet, but that's going to be like a bar, or maybe like quick service food, nothing fancy. Probably just like pizza and sandwiches perhaps, but not like a restaurant. And this is kind of like a lobby area. There is no actual check-in. The check-in occurs at this hotel, at the Disneyland Hotel. So there's no proper lobby or check-in area. This is just a common area for people to hang around. And you can see, again, the color schemes. Check out those books at the top. It's the same concept as we saw, on the side of the building. It's to represent the color palettes that artists draw from. Each film has its own color scheme. There's 3 of these. There's 3 individual elements. One is for Frozen, and you can see how the colors that you see looking down will match the colors that you see on the side of the building in the same order and everything. So that's Frozen. And then the one in the middle is Princess and the Frog, and the one on the right is Mulan. It now makes sense, and I really enjoy that. The whole thing is an ink and paint themed hotel. It's delightful. I have to say, it's really, really nice. And here's a collage of some of those infamous scenes from Disney films. And they even paid a little tribute to Ub Iwerks right there. That man is the man who drew our first Mickey Mouse. Walt drew Mickey first, and then Ub is the man who drew the Mickey that appears in the cartoon, the very first cartoons. I was able to confirm. You heard it right. There will be no proper restaurant for the 4 hotels being served right here at the Disneyland Hotel, between the Fantasy, Adventure, Frontier, and DVC Villas. No proper restaurant. The closest thing you have to a proper restaurant is Goopy's Kitchen. When I asked the hostess or the guide, whoever was with me just now, she said, if you want to get something to eat, you go to Tangaroa Terrace. I'm troubled by that. I'm sure most people are. That's kind of insane to think about that. But where are you going to send these guests? You're going to you got to have a restaurant. But the way she phrased it, though, I should say, is that yet. She left a little, but I'm not sure if she knows, but she's just saying that's all I got so far. But as of now, as of today, no proper restaurant for any of those hotels. You either got to go, well, that's not even, you're going to say you got to go to the Picture Place, but that's not even open yet, but they're going to have the Great Maple. I don't think that's even a proper restaurant, to be honest. And then you got to go into downtown Disney. Schmoozies is still not open. It was supposed to be open on the 8th, I believe, and then it was supposed to be open on the 28th. Still closed as of today, as I record this. Stage 17 is closed. That's a welcome sight, seeing those doors shuttered. No sign, though, of a wrecking ball or a bulldozer. No sign anywhere. I looked. We'll keep hoping. Hyperion is no shows happening right now, but I did want to report that WDW News Today is reporting that while there are no shows happening right now, it is vacant. The theater is not performing any shows. They are reporting a rumor that Rogers the Musical will be back after the holidays. I don't know how true that is. It's a rumor. Putting that out there for you, but it makes sense. It's the only thing that makes sense, in my opinion. Let's talk about San Fransokyo Square for a minute, if you don't mind. I love this, the bridge. I love the bridge. I'm just saying, I love the bridge. I think it looks great. It's a marked improvement over the old bridge. Okay, we're putting that out there first. Last week we reported that there were some maintenance issues that weren't too cool, and some people were expressing their dissatisfaction with that. It looks like they are working on it, though. I was walking around filming, the whole area, looking at the things that where I knew that there were problems, and everywhere I went, I was just like, I don't know, that's not so bad. What's the big deal? This doesn't look. It's not. It looks okay to me. I didn't really see anything sticking out. Everything looked fine, and then I realized that they fixed it. I don't even know where the areas that were separating. I'm not even sure where those were, because Liz is the only person who's ever shot this for us, so I'm not sure what. I think it might have been right here, though. I think this might have been, that piece right there might have been separated, but if it was, it's not anymore. So that's good news, guys. The San Fransokyo Bridge, I think, is pretty much as it should be. I don't know if we can call up the dogs on people being upset about this. It doesn't bother me. It didn't really bother me too much, to be honest. But there you go. It looks like they have at least addressed some of the issues. I tried to find some. I did. I really did. I was looking all over the place. I tried to find some. So we'll stay tuned. We're going to keep looking at this to see if it holds up, because it did break down quickly. So hopefully it'll stay fixed. It'll stay buttoned up. I think the bridge looks great. I really do. I think it looks great. Maybe I have a low threshold for, enjoyment of things, but I think it looks great. Real quick, I will add before we leave that the queue to meet Baymax is nowhere near as bad as it was before. That's probably 15, 20 minutes, depending on your timing. Because they go off, they do a little meet and greet, then they're backstage for 5 minutes or so, and then they come back out. But that's maybe a 15 or 20 minute wait to meet Baymax and Hero, or just, well, I don't think Baymax greets on his own, but sometimes you get Hero. And with that, we'll wrap in ToonTown, where we've got a newsworthy update from Centennial Park. Walls are up still, obviously, and we are being advised to keep going around the corner if you want to find something fun. I know these walls are really daunting and it makes you not want to come in here, but trust me, go around these walls and you'll find magic in ToonTown, which, by the way, ToonTown is still great. Actually, it's still great. It's still plenty great. These walls don't look great, but the land itself is still great. It's just the park that's behind walls and the fountain, which, it sucks, but, it's not a permanent situation. And we'll take a look over the wall, and by golly, yeah, we've got a change of plans. They have taken out or replaced the AstroTurf-like grass that was surrounding the fountain, and they're replacing it with some brick. I don't know if those are proper bricks or paving stones. I'm not sure, but they have changed their mind. They're not going to put the faux grass down there. Well, it's not even faux grass. It was barely that. It was just green turf. And they're putting down these paving stones or these bricks. Obviously, it's an issue with water. They were having probably an issue with draining. I've heard other stories, but clearly, whatever the plan that they had in there was not working well with the water elements of the fountain. The fountain, a lot of splash, a lot of water loss, coming out over the sides, etc. And I'm guessing that was affecting how the grass areas around the fountain behaved. So they're replacing that with paving stones or with bricks. I love the way those things look. I think they look good. I'm not worried about that in the least bit. So I think it looks good. It's an improvement visually. Thematically, it's a vast improvement over the cheap turf that they had there before. So that's good news. Also, while we're here, let's take a look at the tree. I think that space has grown. Have they dug out more around that tree? I'm really curious to see what happens there. The fountain itself, still missing all of its apparatus, all of the sprinklers and fountains, etc. Those are all gone to, they're going to be, they'll come back just as they'll reinstall them, but there's nothing wrong with those areas. Now my question though is, if this is their choice, if they're having water issues with this area, if they're having, if they're concerned about how the water drains, for example, or if it's not draining at all, or if it's just, too spongy, or I'm not sure what does that leave us? What does that mean for Goofy's play yard? Because that has, well, it's not the same. This has that spongy kid-safe turf as opposed to just the regular, not at all for kids, AstroTurf that surrounded the fountain. But Goofy's house is going down. This whole area is going down as soon as they're done with the fountain area. Should we expect them to change these fake grassy areas at the play yard and elsewhere? As I mentioned last week, is that the reason why they still haven't fixed the seesaws or Donald's duck pond? I have a feeling this grass is going to survive. It's very common, the spongy, kid-safe type turf in lots of outdoor play areas. So it's not like they don't know how to build that. It's not like they don't know how to make those areas safe and then also water, resistant, I guess is the word. So it could be that there's an entirely different factor at play here, and that's why they chose to do the bricks here instead of the AstroTurf. Again, the AstroTurf is very different than the grass that was used at Goofy's play yard, but also the grass that was used in the picnic areas. The picnic area in front of Roger Rabbit's, the ride, and the picnic area out in the center by Donald's boat. Both of those areas use a different kind of grass. So it's possible that that areas are fine and they're not going to have to update those. Matter of fact, they did already. Both picnic areas, they did already. So hopefully what they did then, it was good enough. So there you go, guys. That is our update from ToonTown. I want to hear your thoughts again on this, because how concerning is this for you? Because when you think about it, as we mentioned last week, it really is kind of shocking that we found ourselves in this situation, considering it's only been open for a few months. It's really kind of shocking, and how could they have not anticipated this? You know what I mean? How could they have not been prepared for this? What is the reason? What is the reason that we found ourselves in this situation? Good news is that they're doing something about it, and that's what matters. So that's good for us. Let us know in the comments below. Then subscribe to our channel. If you like these kind of updates, these construction reports, subscribe, because we do these every week. And then follow us on Instagram at _freshbaked, on X at freshbakedisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at freshbakedisney. And if you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked, where we upload content separate from what we put on this channel, content just for Patreon. So if you're interested in any of that, please join us there. And then that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. Fresh Baked.